All right, guys, let's start off by giving your name and your teacher. All right, here's number 1. Go ahead and start it. And here's the answer. So remember, the key words here are that it's squared, right? 256 square feet. So if the whole area of the square is 256, to find just one side, we would take the square root of 256. And the square root of 256 is 16, which means it's a 16 by 16. So 16 times 16 is 256. So that's why it's A. And remember, square has to have all sides are the same length. So that's why it has to be the same number. So really, you could have instantly gotten rid of these two, right? Here's number 2. And here is the answer. So remember, we're going to do PEMDAS. So the first thing we look for is parentheses. We see parentheses, but there's really nothing to simplify within the parentheses. So then we're going to go to exponents. So the next thing that we would have is 2 squared. So 2 squared is 2 times 2, which is 4. I'm going to drop everything else. 12 minus 8 divided by. So done with exponents, I multiply, divide, left to right. So I have a negative 8 divided by 4, which is a negative 2. Drop down your 12, and then 12 minus 2 is 10. Next one. And then the answer is B. So all we care about is the set 4. So this is all extra info. And any number that has decimals or anything else is just rational. That's it, okay? So remember, all of these natural whole integers, no decimals, no fractions, unless they can be simplified into a whole number or an integer. Number 4. And the answer is A. So point C. So if you take the square root of 182, let me put that in my calculator real quick, you get 13.49. And 13.49 is in between 13 and 14, so it's got to be point C. Next one. And the answer is A, expression 3. So I'm not going to go through all of them with you, but I will go through expression 3 with you. So once again, we're going to talk about PEMDAS, right? So do I have parentheses? Yes, definitely, right? We see a big thing of parentheses. So within the parentheses, we're going to look for exponents, and I don't see anything. But then we look for multiplying and dividing left to right. So you would start here within the parentheses. So in your calculator, you would say negative 708.4 divided 1.26.5. And that's going to give us negative 5.6. Drop everything else exactly as you see it. So we're still working with inside the parentheses. With inside the parentheses, we're done with multiplying and dividing, and we have adding and subtracting. Remember, we add and subtract left to right. So I'm going to do 2.1 minus 5.6, and that's negative 3.5. Drop down your plus 4. Remember, you got to bring down those parentheses, and then plus 6.5. All right, so I'm still working within my parentheses. So negative 3.5 plus 4 gives me 0.5. You can bring down the parentheses if you want to. They definitely won't hurt anything. And then I have that plus 0.65. Add those together, and you get 7, which is not 14. Next one. Essentially, any non-perfect square is irrational. So the only non-perfect square is 2, because square root of 9 is 3, square root of 4 is 2, and the square root of 16 is 4. So this is the only one. If you put square root of 2 into your calculator, oops, square root of 2, you'll get this. And that's a crazy number, right? Like, I know on our screen they don't show the dot, 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 but really it's there. So that is irrational. Here's number 8. Oops. Here's number 7. And here's the answer. Hopefully you didn't see it before. All we're doing, guys, is we're looking to see what is in between 17 and 18. So if you try out all of these, the square root of 340 gives us 18.4. Nope, that's not in between those. Square root of 360 is 18.9, so nope. Square root of 325, 18.02, nope. And then finally, the square root of 303 is 17.4. So that one is in between 17 and 18. All right, here's number 8. And the answer. The only thing that's sneaky about this one, guys, is that you're making sure that it's in a improper fraction. So once again, PEMDAS. And we look for parentheses. We don't see any parentheses, so we're done. I don't see any exponents, so I'm done. I'm going to multiply and divide left to right. Remember, a fraction is just a fancy way of dividing. Okay, that's it. So we need to worry about this fraction first. Within that, we need to worry about this top first, the numerator. So we're going to simplify the numerator first. So 3 plus 2 is 5. Bring down your fraction and your 4. And while we're at it, guys, I'm going to go ahead and bring down my 6 in that time sign. Once again, we multiply and divide left to right. Okay, so let's go ahead and worry about this fraction first. And you could actually do this 2 different ways, if I'm going to be honest with you. You could simplify the fraction first, which is what I would do, because I almost think of fractions as like a grouping, so a parenthesis or a grouping, whatever. So 4 divided by 5 is 1.25, because I know we love decimals. Drop down your 6 and your times. Now, multiply it by 6. That gives us 7.5. So we know it's going to be a decimal, so instantly you should have gotten rid of A and B. Now, instead of freaking out, don't freak out, just simplify your C and D answer. So 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. 10 divided by 4 is 2.5. That is not correct. That's why C is the answer. All right, which of the following is not a rational number? So if it's not rational, it's obviously got to be irrational, right? So we're just looking for which one is irrational. And our answer is B. Okay? This is a terminating decimal. We've talked about that. Those are rational. 3, y'all, that's natural, whole, integer, rational, real. And then this good old repeating makes it rational. So the square root of 8 is 2.828427125 ... So it's a crazy. And it's a non-perfect square, right? Number 10. And here's the answer. So we're just trying to figure out which represents. Now, the only thing that's sneaky about this is the negative. So first of all, we know our number is going to be negative because the negative is outside the square root. And then in our calculators, we just put the square root of 335. And that's 18.30 something, 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 something. But I'm just going to put 18.30. So if I'm looking at this, I know it's going to be one of these, right? Got to be B or C. So really, let's just get rid of. Now we're down to a 50-50. That's negative 18.30. So that means it's in between negative 18 and negative 19. So the point that's in between negative 18 and negative 19 is B. That's our answer. Here's number 11. And here's the answer. All right, y'all guessed it, PEMDAS or GEMDAS, whatever. Let's put a G there this time for GEMDAS. Not that it matters, but. All right, so we're going to look for any parentheses or grouping symbols or anything like that. Nope. But anytime I see a fraction, I'm just going to go ahead and simplify it. 3 divided by 2, and my calculator gives me 1.5. Okay? Bring down everything else. All right. Now, the next thing would be exponents. We see exponents everywhere, but let's do the first one first. 8 squared is 8 times 8, which is 64. Bring everything down. Here's another set of exponents. Remember, 2 to the 6 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. I think I said it 6 times. Not 2 times 6. So in your calculator, you should put 2 to the 6, which is 64. Bring down everything else. Done with exponents, so now we're going to multiply and divide left to right. So I see multiplication first. 64 times 1.5 gives me 96 plus 64, and just add 64 to it. That gives me 160. There we go. Next one. And here's our answer. It is a real number. So -3 would be an integer. Well, actually, let's do our, so there's natural, whole. Let's do an I here. Integer. And then all of these are rational. And then remember over here we've got irrational. And then they're all real numbers. That's not very pretty, but I hope y'all know what I'm saying. So if I go with the -3, -3 is an integer. So therefore, I can take anything out. So it's an integer, rational, it's real. And so the only thing that it tells us is, boom, a real number. And remember, even numbers are like 2, 4, 6, 8, and so forth. So it's actually -3 is an odd number. Number 13. And there's the answer. So the square root of 22 is 4.69. Bring down that negative. -4 is in between -4.69 is in between -4 and -5. Don't be weirded out that in the negative we go the opposite way, right? So -5 and -4. If you need to draw a number line, like to each their own. Number 14. And there is our answer. All right, so remember we were talking about PEMDAS, GEMDAS, whatever your teacher says. But so we want to do grouping symbols first, which would be these brackets. But within the brackets, there's a lot happening. So let's look at the numerator first. So within the numerator, I've got 3 plus, and then this large fraction. Within this large fraction, we've got the parentheses here. So that's where we're going to start. So 3 plus 1 is 4. And then I'm going to don't forget your parentheses. Bring everything else down. Actually, hold on. Oops. I don't know if I'm going to have enough room. Let's just put a 4 there. All right, so now we want to, before we get to the larger fraction, we need to take care of this little fraction, right? So I've got 2 times 4, sorry, because I need to figure out this numerator first. So 2 times 4 is 8. I'm going to drop down this divided by 4. I'm going to drop down this 3 plus, all over 3, and then these big old brackets, and the 2's outside. All right, so I need to do the numerator first again. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Bring everything down exactly as you see it. They should be getting smaller every time. All right, we're still working within those grouping symbols. 3 plus 2 is 5. Okay. 5 divided by 3 is going to give us an ugly decimal, a repeating decimal, but that's all right. Let's just say that it's 5 divided by 3 is 1.666. Or let's just say 1.66 for right now. And then we have the 2 out there. Okay, so then 2 times 1.66666 gives me 3.33. Then, just like I did with the previous one, so that's my answer, if we make it a decimal. Just like I did with the previous one, I would go ahead and simplify each one. So 22 divided by 3 is 7.3. Nope. 20 divided by 3 is 6.67 or 66666. Nope. 10.3 is 3.33, and then 11 divided by 6 is 1.8333, so no. But I just want to go back here for 1 second. Go back to this. 5 divided by 3. Another thing that we could have just done is you say 2 times 5 is 10, and then you have that divided by 3. But that's something different. Okay, so if you want to do that, cool. It's a shortcut. Last one. And here's the answer. So the only thing sneaky about this one is making sure that you take the parentheses. We don't have it. Here's the exponents. 5 squared is 25. Negative 2 times 25 is negative 50. And then 100 minus 50 is 50.